What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? My name is Prodigy, and welcome to our video on the channel. Today, guys, we are going to be talking about the Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance Ultimania. Finally, we are starting the Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance Ultimania. It has been a long time coming, for the past 2 years nearly, that we've been covering the Kingdom Hearts Ultimanias. I've been looking forward to this game and Birth by Sleeps a lot, because those two games are the games that I have always felt like changed a lot about the Kingdom Hearts story, and I wanted to always get insight into the decisions behind that, the mindset behind those story changes, and some gameplay mechanics as well. I mean, the Kingdom Hearts series just evolved a lot with those two games, so I felt like they probably would have had some very interesting interviews. But also, we covered Kingdom Hearts 3's Ultimania very early on. We covered it when it released, and then we decided to go back and cover the other Kingdom Hearts games in order, and we've done so. And now we're at Dream Drop Distance, being the last single game Ultimania we're going to be covering. Now, I may decide to go back and cover some other developer interviews in these Ultimanias, some other gameplay details, as these Ultimanias are really large books, and honestly, we've only been covering a small section of them by covering just the Nomura interviews. But the Nomura interviews are the main things that have been translated in a lot of cases, meaning that if we cover other developer interviews, it'll be a lot more sporadic, spread out across multiple Ultimanias, compared to covering them in order like we did with the Nomura interviews. But I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Like usual, we're going to be starting off with the main Nomura interview, then heading into the scenario mysteries, which covers a lot more of the lore details, while the main interview is generally like the PR interview, I guess you can say, just talking about features, mechanics. But let's dive right in. When did you start thinking up the idea for Kingdom Hearts 3D? Probably during the production of Birth by Sleep. At the time, there weren't plans to start another Kingdom Hearts title, but when I looked at the 3DS hardware, the idea came to me. It seems that every entry into the Kingdom Hearts series aims to utilize the features of its platforms. So what elements of the 3DS were you looking into? I thought that the Flowmotion ability was something I wanted to do in the next Kingdom Hearts, so why not do it with this title? I thought of the dive mode function afterwards when I saw the 3DS in action. It's similar to the Gummy Ship minigame that appeared in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, but this time, rather than ride a vehicle, I wanted the characters to drop directly into their destination world. Since the dive mode appears first, it feels like the game system is established from there. What sparked the idea to introduce the Flowmotion ability? I've been working on a few action RPGs outside of Kingdom Hearts, like Final Fantasy Type 0 and Final Fantasy Versus 13. So the first thought I had was I wanted it to clearly stand out from the others. I planned on showing that this is the direction the Kingdom Hearts series is headed. When I thought of the elements that really define the Kingdom Hearts series, I thought of the bold sort of action that realistic characters can express. My idea was that with Flowmotion, you'd be able to jump to impossible heights in comparison to how you could jump in the previous titles. So Nomura just wanted to give us a limitless movement ability, which it really is just limitless. From early game, as you have Flowmotion, you pretty much have everything that Flowmotion entails from the get-go. So you're able to get any chest you want, anything, period, if you know how to use Flowmotion to the best of its abilities. And honestly, if you're just up against a wall, jumping higher and higher, it's not too hard to get a lot of higher to reach the ceiling in that game, which makes things very interesting, but can also negate some level design, but did come with some verticality that previous Kingdom Hearts games didn't really have that much of, aside from specific levels in games like Kingdom Hearts 1 or like the Cavern of Remembrance in Kingdom Hearts 2. But while admittedly I acknowledge that Flowmotion was very broken, I definitely abused the heck out of it to beat Dream Drop for the first time. I also really liked it. I felt like it was very fun, very expressive, had a lot of freedom. I do think it's a lot more balanced in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I kind of prefer it to that. Or even if they had it like Dream Drop Distance's Flowmotion, but you were able to upgrade it throughout the game compared to just having it all at once. Maybe as you level up, you get more jumps, more resets, new abilities with Flowmotion, but they just gave you everything, just everything. But it's what made the game really memorable and very distinct from other Kingdom Hearts titles. It seemed that the Flowmotion system might dishevel the game's balance, but there was a lot of attention put towards regulating it. Well, the staff really didn't like it. If the character could make a huge jump freely, then there is no telling where he'd go. Since you had to deal with every action the player made, the opinion coming forth in the beginning was that it was difficult. But since I explained to the staff that this was the sort of direction Kingdom Hearts was going, we did anyways. In the games prior to this one, there were treasure chests you can reach until you had attained high jump, but this time it seems you can just take about all the treasures using Flowmotion. It makes things interesting, doesn't it? Flowmotion is designed to take over the movement if you don't control it, but if you're able to use it well, you can attain the treasure chest without needing the high jump ability. It's a different style compared to the regular Kingdom Hearts games, which I think is one of the system's charms. I thought it'd be better this way rather than making it boring with restricted actions. For the title Kingdom Hearts 3D, we thought it was very clear how the 3D doesn't just stand for three-dimensional, but also for the first letter of each of the 3 words in the subtitle. I thought of making it 3D with 3Ds early on. However, while I was able to settle on Dream and Drop smoothly, the last one just wouldn't come to me. When we were at the point where we had a scenario, distance occurred to me from the distance between Sora and Riku, on the verge of meeting but unable to. There is one more unsaid meaning behind deciding on distance, and that is the distance between 3D and the number 3 itself. Not gonna lie, reading that makes me sad. Mostly because if I'm interpreting that right, the number 3, which I'm thinking Kingdom Hearts 3, didn't come up for another 7 years after Dream Drop Distance. So, the distance between 3D and the number 3 itself, yeah, he was right. But I'm probably reading into it too much. But the 3D standing for the first 3 letters of the 3 words in the subtitle as well, I think is very cool. I actually never thought about it that way. I don't think I have, at least. So that's a cool little neat thing to know. Well, I think that's a good place to stop for now. The Dream Drop Distance interviews from what I'm looking at are pretty lengthy, and Nara has a lot to say, as his responses are quite a lot. That's from what I'm skimming at right here. So we are definitely in for a wild ride here. I wonder what more info he has to tell us about. I'm very excited for the scenario mysteries and his thoughts on the ending and the future of Kingdom Hearts from this point onwards. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like, share the video with a friend or family member, leave a comment down below telling me what your experience with Dream Drop Distance was sort of like. How do you feel about the Flowmotion system? What do you think about what Nara has said here about Dream Drop so far? Once again, let me know down below. And last but not least, if you have not already and want to become a part of the union, all you have to do is hit that red subscribe button down below. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.
Now she's a daydreamer.